Okay, sorry. I'm Ana Felker. I'm a postdoctoral fellow at UNAM, and I'm also part of a collective with Mauricio that develops ecological narratives in Veracruz.
Thank you. Now we got it, I think. Yeah. Yes, so myself, I am Mauricio Patron Rivera. I'm a postdoctoral fellow in the Institute of Aesthetic Research in the National University here in Mexico City, and also part of this collective we will present to you under the name Topote de Acahual.
We will explain in a second why the plant on the face. Okay, so this is a very regional and local project where we're talking about. It's in the state of Veracruz, which is in the Gulf of Mexico, and especially in a place called Tebanca, which is close to the Laguna de Catemaco. No? It is the northest rainforest in the continent. It is a place where usually there's a lot of rain most of the year, but they've been having a lot of scarcity of water because of deforestation. So that's part of what the project has to do with.
Yes, so as Ana was saying, Veracruz is this state in the Gulf of Mexico with the greatest livestock activity. And that was a public policy. So it's a problem that we have from several decades now that they impose the idea of deforestation, put an end to the rainforest, to start giving more and more and more space to the livestocking. And our collective achieved this problem together with the peasants, with all the community. So our main question here is how to propose a different public policy from an ecological point of view to recover the rainforest, but at the same time worry about the economy of the communities living there, because we usually think like in recovery the rainforest or give space to the nature as an impossibility to live a decent life from it. So that's the crossing lines we work here in this project. Now we believe it's urgent to change that policy and convince residents to convert meadows into forest again. A challenge that workers at the Vivero de Tebanca, Tebanca's nursery plant, have faced for over 3 decades now.
Yeah, maybe to insist on that, can you go back to the previous?
Yeah, of course.
In the 90s, when the treaty North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement was signed, as part of that treaty, the land was converted from rainforest to a place for livestock, and almost 20% of the land was deforested. And they are already seeing diminishment of rain of around 3%. And that has an important impact on the population, the way they eat, the way they develop. And this place where we've been developing our project has really been an activist to reconvert the land again to the recover rainforest, but also so that people can have a living from the rainforest.
All yours. Yeah.
This is I forgot the word vivero, ¿cómo es?
Nursery plant.
Yeah, this is the nursery. ¿Cómo se llama la nursery?
Vivero de Tebanca.
Así, the nursery Vivero de Tebanca. There have been for years, for decades, they had been working for 40 years, around 40 years. They had been working in this small area, growing seeds, growing plants to give to the local farmers, so they can also work in the reforestation of the rainforest. And this is one of the activities we did when we were there as part of a pedagogical experiment. While we were talking about theory and other things, we were filling all these bags with dirt. No, so combining the work with the land, getting our hands dirty with pedagogy and theory.
Yeah, so it's important to say that in this nursery, like they don't sell the plants to the general public. It's usually what happens in a nursery in your town or city, but it produces specific species that are important for the rainforest recovery and give them to the peasants. So it's a work together with the peasants and different actors in the region of Catemaco and Los Tuxtlas natural protected area. So they work together and they say like, why don't you start converting your piece of land, your ejido, and still have some livestock, but start designating some area to recover the rainforest. And that's the beginning. So yeah, everything begins in these little plants, baby plants. Yeah.
And it's a very local effort, but they have to be in constant dialogue with the government as well to push policy in this sense and to get funds also from the government. Okay, so when we started this educative pedagogical project, we went to Veracruz, to this area, Tebanca, and printed this convocatoria. I'm forgetting all the word.
Yeah, like the poster. Yeah.
Yeah, like an open call for peasants and people in that area to participate. So we went community to community, pasting this open call, no? And it was very important. We had a funding to do this, and we offered people to pay them to participate. And when part of the project had to do with that, spending their time and effort, and it would be rewarded, like everybody's time and work would be rewarded the same. And so we went to these communities to invite people to participate, and then waited to hear back from them. And then we learned that they had their local WhatsApp groups, and through those groups, they passed the word, and we received a lot of messages from people very enthusiastic to participate in a pedagogical project that sounded really weird and experimental for people in that area, because it combined music, arts, broadening, no. ¿Cómo se dice? Bordado.
Embroidering.
And so people didn't know what to expect, but they sent text, and that's how we started the project. We spent 15 days there in the rainforest developing these workshops.
Yeah, so basically after that open call, we received a great response, and we were able to give like this kind of fellowship, scholarship for a 2-week program for almost 30 people in the community. Ejidatarios, that's the name in Spanish for peasants, and a specific kind of tenants of the parcels and the collective tenants back in Mexico. Nursery growers, already experts in the nursery system, forestry technicians, engineers, artists, teachers, and self-taught workers. And we get together there to learn how to take care of the jungle. So we create this interdisciplinary group of people, all from the region, and some others like ourselves from Mexico City, or even we have a great artist from Colombia. So yeah, we create this interdisciplinary collective. Yeah. Now we want to share some of the results of the program. We will begin with this video. Let me know if the audio doesn't hurt, but it's just like about 10 seconds. Yeah.
Este es el sonido del súchil. Ah,
Yeah, we're talking more about farmers, no? Not Daniel is making us a note. Yeah, farmers. Yeah, this was one of the experts from the nursery who's daily working growing plants, but also going to the rainforest to check how the plants are doing after they checking on their growth. And this was one of the members of the collective we created from local farmers.
Yeah, and he was doing a performance imitating the sound of a specific tree, the suchil. So that's the way we started working, like syntonizing, tuning, and we will talk about it in a minute. Like changing the traditional point of view to approach to an ecological thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a result after walking through pathways in the rainforest and drawing, doing this technique called frottage on trees and listening to the rainforest. And after that, we did a workshop, a musical workshop with an artist that specializes in music and sound. And each person chose a species to recreate the sound. There's this okay.
Yeah, so one of the main concepts we were approaching is tuning. This came from Timothy Morton and his book on ecology and philosophy, Being Ecological. So it has based on the object-oriented ontologies, if you are familiarized with that branch of philosophy thought. And the main idea is that reality is elusive and mediated by experience. So we need to start thinking beyond our limits as human beings. And of course, doing that is not possible because we are humans. So in order to do it, we need to use creativity. And that's the point where arts, crafts open to start imagining a new common sense, and that common sense as a base for a new public policy. So the main idea is try to think as the rainforest, try to think as the animals that live there, as the plants that live there, and start asking the questions, like how is to breathe underwater, like breathe for a fish? How is to play and hear music for a plant, and so on, right? To change the point of view.
And it also has to do with how we view time, because we usually think of time from a human perspective, but how is time for a tree that lives hundreds of years? And how can we change that perspective and have patience? No? Like when farmers, for example, of that area grow a ceiba, which is a type of tree, they have to have a different perspective on time and patience from the one we have in the cities, no? Because it takes time to grow a tree. And if there's a productivist approach of how to take advantage of land, and use it and be extractivist, there is no possibility for the land to recover, right? And it's a critique on an anthropocenic view.
Yeah, so we start doing a lot of different exercise. This, as we already said, it was a super experimental, pedagogical school. So, for example, in this moment, this was one of our top discoveries on an aesthetical point of view. We start playing with these leaves to like interpret, like try to be those species. We start playing, just taking pictures, like I'm gonna put my agency on that plant and see what happened. And it was not like a theatrical play. It's just try to change the perspective again. So yeah.
And also to try to abandon the idea of the individual, like a capitalist idea of the individual, and think of ourselves in a super organism or a collective as being part of the rainforest and be interdependent with the ecosystem, right? Okay. And we believe also that this kind of creative exercise can lead to the creation of a new ecological narrative that can also permit other ways of living that are less toxic or damaging to the environment, and that can also provide alternatives for political and public policy that can help grow the rainforest again.
Yeah, so again, trying to connect the philosophy to the grounds, like our response to that, tuning with the rainforest, was start working in the nursery. We filled dozens of bags with soil in the Vivero de Tebanca to imagine an hydrocarbon horizon from the tequia. Tequia, it's our word for collective work that doesn't get paid. So you, as part of a community, give your tequio. It's in a specific day where you just reunite with your community, and you said what we need to do to improve our streets, our parks. So we start doing that kind of work. We also have a music, like we made an orchestra out of music, out of plants, stones, branches. Yeah, we wrote autobiographies, working specifically with 10 species that are in danger, or that they are just belong to that area, exist only in Los Tuxtlas or other. Yeah, we work with super specific species of plants from that rainforest. We also designed a signage system to know their location in the community, but also all the possible uses, like in gastronomy, medicine, or just to create crafts. Yeah. And we create also educational materials such as fanzines and posters to encourage reforestation, because part of the crisis of the reforestation issue that we identify on the community is that we need to create, imagine new words to approach the ecological crisis. The words that we have today, like climate change, and of course, those are important. But when you take those words to the community, people are tired of hearing the same, and they hear it on the mass media, and the mass media transmit this fear that that kind of imaginary of the end of the world. So we were thinking we need to invent, recreate our own words to be able to imagine a future of reforestation.
And it's interesting also that as a result of the North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement and all this policy of deforestation had also as a consequence the erasure of memory. Like people had a way of eating, for example, they ate their local products and fruits and so on. But after this treaty came in, a lot of external junk food came into town in the little stores, and people stopped preparing their traditional foods, and that memory was lost. So part of the work we did in the workshops was interview people to recover those recipes and get the materials, like the ingredients, and recreate those recipes. But it's interesting that we had to, with the locals that had already lost that information, that knowledge, we got to know the plants, the name of the plants, the families they're part of, and their usage, as Mauricio was explaining, their medicinal use or so on. And this was part of it, like to walk in the rainforest, and did this technique called frottage, where you, with a pencil, you go on top of the trunk to see how to understand its texture. And it's part of a process to get to know the forest, because the only way you will take care of something is if you know it and you really care for it, no? Not because mass media comes and tell you that you have to care for something.
Yeah, so other direct output, it was creating, like, try to summarize all our conversation and activities in simple phrases that we can put on posters, billboards around the community, the Tebanca community. So we start talking with the people that way, like, excuse me, sir, could you let me paste this poster on your house? And they start to ask, like, what's going on? What's that about? And that way we engage with most of the Tebancas community. Yeah.
For example, that's a leaf, a mate leaf. And so we talk about what's the properties of the amate, and so people have already a relationship with these plants, no? And can you pass to the next?
Yeah.
And for example, many of the posters we pasted were the recipes, no? So the same recipes with the local products that people share with us, we pasted around the community, and people could read them and maybe say, no, I prepare this recipe differently. But there was a dialogue with the community about the local products, and it's a way to revalue those plants and that environment that they have, no? That is very rich. There's this little boy reading the recipes.
Yeah, this is just a couple of pictures with some of the gastronomy. It's super important and so unique in the region. And actually, we are seeing the little fishes there. The name are topote as our collective. And it's a cultural way to welcome to the jungle. So if you arrive to Catemaco or any other community in the rainforest of Los Tuxtlas, they will offer you as a starter a taco of topote. And the topote is an endemic fish that grows in the rivers of that rainforest. So yeah, we were all the time talking about it, eating it, and yeah, get to incorporate in our body, in our community, the things we were talking about.
This picture is one of the writing workshops. We were one of the exercises we did was write. Each person had a plant they had chosen, so they had to imagine they were that plant and write an autobiography of that plant, no? And that had to do with drawing the plant, understanding the sound of that plant with the wind, and then writing. And that autobiography, that had to do also with their emotional connection with those plants, no? Some people had memories from their childhood connected with a recipe maybe, but also maybe they climbed that tree, or they had different memories, no? But the important thing was to dig those memories and revalue them, no? Yeah, and that had to do with not impose Spanish and find other ways also to imagine. And we also work with speculative fiction. Some people wrote imagining they were 100 years from now, and how would that plant look in the future, you know, and what would be our relationship with that. And so there was also science fiction there, and we had all sorts of genres involved. And it was really nice that we had to work inside the nursery, but also outside, and it was awesome.
Yes, one of our main research questions was how it's possible to exist in another way. And we know that doesn't have a direct, unique answer, but we try to repeat that question as a mantra to try to go deeper and deeper in these ecological narratives. And one thing that we discovered, as Anna said, it's like we usually think in narratives or in literature like something you do, like you write the narratives. And we start thinking like, no, maybe we need to listen, we need to receive the narratives. So part of that tuning was thinking constantly on how can we as humans, as community, can be more open to realize what the rainforest need from us, right? Instead of trying to give the solution to the forest, like, yeah, you need more plants, or you need more water, or more animals, or yeah. So yeah, attentive is hearing, yeah.
An inspiration for this was also Bell Hook's idea on how to transform the classroom. And one of those points is listening, right? Like, because in a traditional classroom, we have the teacher in a vertical position talking to the students. And here, not only we were working in a rainforest or in the nursery, but also we were also the students, and the people that were taking the workshops taught us how to embroider and taught us how to cook. And there was really an inner a dialogue between teaching and learning. No, the roles were exchanged constantly.
Yeah, it was a challenge to try to break every day the classroom. And sometimes we remain in the little classroom inside the nursery because it is a rainforest. So half of the day, like sometimes it starts raining and everything is water, and you need to accommodate your activities to that. Yeah.
Okay, next. This is part of the writing workshop. Oh, this we were doing everything at the same time. Now there's Edith is writing, and I don't remember who's this, but she's Amelia. No, Amelia is embroidering.
Amelia.
And here on the right, there's one of the results of the typewriter work part. And yeah, just as an illustration.
Yeah, and just remembering the goal was to communicate with the rest of the people. So we acknowledge that we are just a small group, and we need to create this kind of materials to talk to children, to elders, to everyone, to politicians that are in the different assemblies taking decisions. So yeah, it's hearing the rainforest, but always having in mind the changes we want to make to create reforestation actions.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
This is another, Yeah.
It's part of a fanzine.
We create a lot of materials. Right now, we have an exhibit in a university here in Mexico City, and we are going to Europe next year, but we can talk about it later in the Q&A if you want to.
Yeah, it was very important for us how we worked as a collective. And every day after the exercises and after the workshops with the community, we came back to the house we were staying at and talk about what worked, what didn't work, and printing everything and making copies. And so that was part of the pedagogical process, like be reinventing and revising all the time. And this was the table the space we worked at, where we worked at night to revise our methodologies.
Yeah, it was a 24/7 program. Yeah, so intense. Yeah. So yeah, we are approaching our conclusions. So theoretically, we came with these two ideas we find to be so powerful in the region as a way to explain what are we trying to do. And this one, the first one is Acahual, and the second one, Nepantlera species. So yeah, let's go with Acahual. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the name of our collective, Topote de Acahual. And Topote is the little fish you saw before. And Acahual, do you want me to?
Yeah, go
Okay.
for it. Yeah.
Acahual,
Or-
it's the name in Nahuatl. In English, it's
Follow.
fallow land. It's an uncultivated land and a border between meadow and forest. In its apparent non-productivism, we find its ecological powers as a base unit for jungle regeneration. So it's a place apparently abandoned, unproductive, but it's the perfect space where the land can regenerate and rest. No, it's the place where the land can rest and have a second opportunity. No? So in times where we're always trying to find or extract the more the capital from every little corner, these Acahuals are really a symbolic and real and practical space for land regeneration. No? So we learned a lot about these Acahuales. For example, the type of plants that grow naturally without human intervention in these areas, and that many times are thought as bad plants, no? Mala hierba, it's called in Spanish, like the kind of herbs that you just want to take out to grow something.
Yeah, and even it's aggressive, right? Yeah. They tell you like, don't go to the Acahual because it's like so scratchy and yeah. It's not a difficult, an easy, walkable space. Yeah.
Yeah. It even has a bad connotation, right?
Yes.
But we learned that many of the plants that grow naturally in those apparently unproductive areas had also medicinal use, or are the little plants that are growing there are creating a shadow that permits other plants to grow underneath, and like little by little the ecosystem it's regenerated.
Yeah, so maybe to create a connection with Chicana philosophy, we were thinking or discovering Acahual could be our borderland. It's that limit between livestock and rainforest, a perfect space for the encounter and translation from human and non-human. So we decided that was a really productive place for action and thought.
Mm-hmm. And also the biologist in that area told us that the little species that grow in those acahuales in fallow land are called pioneer species, no? Because they're open the path for new plants to grow. But we thought that concept pioneer species resonates with settler culture or colonialism, and we wanted to connect it to Nepantlera, no, with that, as Ma was saying, to Chicano philosophy, and how it can be like a space of an in-between, right? And not a space of conquest, but a space of transformation and hybridation, and a space for collaborative survival, as Anna Lopenhaupt has written in regards to the mushrooms, and how they expand in the land and collaborate as a superorganism, but not as we as a colonialist perspective, no? But as a way of collaborating.
Yeah, so trying to find out that language, we came with the space of drawing. So in some moment we were insisting in writing, and then we start migrating that idea of how we construct the knowledge. And one of the answers was like, let's start drawing. Making draws is closer than mimic shapes. So we came with these symbols to try to listen to the nursery, all the different characteristics of the plants. And here we can see like the final result of this iconology. So we were able to start understanding the forest in terms of which plants are able to be eaten, which one has a sacred use, medicinal use, which ones are endemic of the region or are already protected for the by different laws at federal or local level. The pioneer species that we're going to talk about it, and so on. So that was a way to find like again, like an Acahual area to talk, listening to the rainforest. And then, as Anna was saying, we came with this idea of Nepantlera species that have the quality of growing and maturing faster than others in degraded soils. And that this is so important because those species start attracting water, fix nitrogen, and create shade. So that's the first necessary thing to create a microclimate that allows less resistant species to grow. And those species know how to inhabit the fallow or Acahual between the induced grassland and the resisting forest, fertilizing it with their patience and apparent unproductivity for the species to come. So we find out that was like a super important work of that specific kind of plant flora species. Yeah.
Yeah, and as we were mentioning bell hooks and transforming the classroom, that had also to do with how we moved our bodies, not try to get out of the chair, not also from the classroom, and move around differently, and also try to use other senses, no? So we covered our eyes, and also to work as a collective, no? To be not individuals, but an organism. And so we covered our eyes and walk around the nursery, and then we did this walk in the one part of the rainforest, also covering our eyes, to try to listen to the rainforest without this sense that we usually prioritize, which is the eyes, the sight. And many of the results came from that, from forcing ourselves to listen and to smell and taste the rainforest without our eyes, no? And that had to do with the Nepantlera notion of how to move around, no? And intellectualize, no? Because many times we impose our notions on the world through the sight, no? And that also has to do with decolonizing our way of seeing the world.
Yes, and we can close with that, I think, but realize, as you hear, that we need to abandon step by step our theoretical frameworks. Of course, it's fundamental to keep sustaining our research on the libraries, on the books, but when we approach the land, the community, we need to stop just repeating those theoretical frameworks. So it's always useful to understand the phenomena, but we need to create knowledge from like inside.
Yeah, because you're not gonna go with the farmers and tell, talk about theory that it was produced somewhere else. No, we have to listen to their concerns and the way they're living and start thinking from that
And the
point.
way they preserve the rainforest, they already are doing that. So yeah, so this is the whole collective. I think we are all here. Just to remember you, it's not a work for the two of us. A lot of people get involved. Even the dogs in residency were part of this effort. And yeah, thank you for everything. We are open
Maybe we
to
can dedicate it to our lost members, Don Esteban, who died, and this dog Yena, our beloved Yena, also died recently. So.
Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, we can leave this for some moment. If you want to download the paper we wrote about it, or just visit the website of the Vivero de Tebanca, viverodetebanca.com, where you can find all the information and the upcoming projects from Topote de Acahual.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we mentioned it, that this is part of an article that we published in. Did you mention it? Yeah.
I was saying just to download it right there. Yeah. If you want to open the camera and use the QR, or we can share right now the links in the chat too. So yeah, you can download that. That's free access.
And this article was part of a dossier where you can find other pedagogical experiences that are similar in different parts of the world, where they're trying to think about ecology from other intellectual and practical perspective. We have some questions.
Yes, maybe I can start sharing one by one. So yeah, thank you everyone for your questions. John Murphy says, thank you, John. This is a very interesting presentation. I wonder what lessons other countries like the US learn from this particular approach to ecological storytelling and conservation.
John is not here anymore.
But I think we can answer that anyway. I think the lessons are enormous. So we insist to apply the knowledge locally. But of course, many of the concepts, as we were talking with Gloria and Saldua, came from Chicano philosophy, or Timothy Morton is professor in Rice. So we are aware that we need to work together in other initiatives. And I will say specifically the pedagogical strategies, we can share it elsewhere. But of course, the actual translation to different communities, different cultures, different ecosystems will change drastically. But at the end, these are tools to start preserving bodies of water. And bodies of water are mainly on the rainforest, but any other kind of forest, any other kind of ecosystem. So yeah, we were thinking in how to create pedagogical approaches to start talking in a different way, with another imagination and with other words.
But I think it's a very important question, because as we were saying, the public policy that came from that agreement between the US, Canada, and Mexico had a very bad impact or deep impact in this local area. So even if it's a local experience, it is part of a geopolitical problem, no? And now that this North Atlantic Treaty is being renegotiating, we have to understand how these economical or commercial treaties are affecting the way land is being grown and being taken care of.
Hmm. Yeah, and John again says, and what can society at large beyond just farmers do to contribute to more inclusive and impactful ecological narratives? I will say that this is we did this research from a place of pleasure, a lot of play, we being together with the community, having a good time. And I think one thing I learned from this experience is that we constantly try to see in the nature an object of our study, when that actually creates a border that put us ourselves outside of nature, and we need to clean that border and realize we are part of the same issues. Even if we live on a big city, the big cities are full of nature, so we need to start thinking differently, that we are part of it. You don't need to go and save the Amazonas river and forest. The people there are already working doing that. You need to like change your point of view and understand your own context as part of of nature. Yeah, we are a nature, we are connected, and that way you will start imagining what you can do, to get different information, and on your own programs. If you like to go hiking, start asking more questions about the place you go hiking, and it's not just a place where you hike. A lot of different dynamic lives are happening there.
Yeah, I guess that also has to do with the white industrial. What's the concept? The white savior industrial complex. Understand the local efforts that are already being developed, and as you said, now not go from the global north to the south to try to save the forest, no?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, for example, if you want to come to Mexico City, and from here we can go to the rainforest, you are all invited, and that will be a natural step. Like just you don't just arrive to Los Tuxtlas and try to save the forest, but you find the nursery, you start talking with us, and we can tell you we have this work. What probably you are expert in something. How all your knowledge can be applied to this place, right? So it's about talking, learning, be open to collaboration. Yeah.
Okay.
Lana Richards, go for it if you want.
Okay. What trends or themes, if any, do you see emerging in Mexico's ecological narratives for the next decade? It's exploding, right? Like there's a lot of interest in ecological thinking. The challenge is to make it to change the culture and to change actually public policy on that topic, because or else it's just going to be a discourse that is publicly accepted, but it doesn't change the reality of people in local areas, no?
Yeah, and there is a lot of interest also from the point of view of technology. We have a lot of technology worldwide and in Mexico, trying to thinking about how to do reforestation projects. But we need to think about that in the context also of the agro industry. So it's not we need to stop one and start believing in the other one, but try to create bridges bridges of collaboration, because of course we need to grow food and to have some livestock, but what's the equilibrium between those? And in the realm of technologies, that conversation is so important, and by the end it comes to the public policy. So yeah, the conversation is effervescent right now. Yeah.
The idea of writing or doing art from the perspective of a particular local species is brilliant. Thank you. Have you tried to reach out to other schools in Mexico or elsewhere to incorporate this into their lessons? Maybe we can talk about the Belgium thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You want to go?
Yeah, so we are trying. We both are professors in the university. We try to incorporate this in our syllabus on the traditional classroom, and yeah, we expand the conversation with other collectives. As Ana was saying, the article we write about Topote de Acahual was published together in a journal with different perspectives, all in art, education, and recovery of body waters, lakes, the sea, rivers, Latin America. That's a huge, beautiful issue you can check. And other links we are doing is try to think about it inside the schools of art. We are going next year to do a residency on a school on Belgium. The name is APAS. It's a school specialized on performance and choreography, arts and body. And they discover they are in a critical moment of change and start listening, asking other people, other collectives, what can we do with all the knowledge that we have? And they create an open call, and we were selected. So now we're going to have all these questions, this conversation with other schools and collectives there in Europe to keep talking about reforestation. And as you can imagine, the ecosystem is completely different. So we have to find the common grounds, the fallow there to create new knowledge. Yeah.
But if you want to invite us to your school, we could also go, Julie.
Yeah. We are doing all the time that, like keep teaching on the community and in the university and other non-institutional or traditional teaching spaces to start opening this kind of conversation. Yeah. Jules also said, and maybe we can close with this one, one word that jumps out for me is emotion and engaging with the rainforest via emotion. Could you comment on this perhaps? Yeah.
No, go ahead.
So emotion is it's so important. Thank you for your comment. I always try to think on a triangle between aesthetics, politics, and politics. Oh, sorry, I already said yeah, politics, aesthetics, and ethics. Sorry. So when we are thinking in a problem between these 3 points of the triangle, I will say emotion is closer to the aesthetic point of view, and the problem with the French philosopher will say the partage of sensible is that we always think that emotion belongs to the arts, to our senses, and we need to create a connection to start talking about emotions from the realm of the politics and the realm of the ethics. And that's what are we trying to do? We take emotion as a starting point to tune in with the plants, with the rainforest. But after you do that, you need to take it to the ethics and to the politics to create actions. Yeah. So yeah, I will say emotions is it's a fundamental energy in this project. Yeah.
Yeah, even if you write if you read the article, you'll see that when I mean, we always say that, but when our son was just born, like a few months born, and we wrote this article with him carrying him, and Mauricio wrote a little bit, and then he carried our son, and then I wrote a little bit,
Switch, yeah.
and we switched. And that part of the writing of the theoretizing our experience was very emotional, but also all the part of the workshops, we really created a link with the people there, and I mean a connection, and also with the rainforest, and just thinking about every step, and not having an extractivist attitude, and not having a white savior attitude and things like that. Yeah.
So I mean,
The
yeah.
ethics that you were talking about. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I was saying I'm sharing the links with you to the project and to the article, the paper, if you wanna check that out. And yeah, if you don't have any other question or comment, we will thank you for everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
We are
thank you
so
for
happy to
listening.
be on the DuPont Summit. And yeah, see you around. Please feel free to contact us using the Huba platform.
Thank you. Have a good day.